Siguro to start
Ano
off,
ba yan? Ano ba yung after office hour?
may pa-prompt na question.
Wait lang, FGD ba to?
Parang we are trying to, we've been working for more than 10 years already in the corporate world. And I think we need what we're trying to share is the voice of people who have been working in the corporate world. And then parang get into a space wherein you can just share your thoughts. And normally when do you do that, diba? You do that after office hours. No? So parang just friends catching up and then talking about work or talking about after work, diba?
That's actually what I had in mind when I pitched this idea to you guys.
So, kailangan mo talaga sabay na sa'yo.
Seriously, kasi
Okay.
diba parang given that it's the pandemic, parang yung normal parang the things that we do after office hours na you try to ask your office mates, you go out, have a drink, diba? And talk about things that you cannot really talk in the office, parang things that you want to in a way to rant about or parang
Blow off steam, diba? You normally blow off steam after office hours.
Yep. So I think we want to create that space so parang they can ask questions. We'll try to answer questions we ourselves have asked to each other, diba? Na parang something you'll only ask to your close friends also. So before we start with our very first question, let's introduce ourselves first. So my background really is in brand management in marketing, but I'm now focusing on digital for the past 5 years. So I've worked at fast moving consumer goods, quick serve restaurant industry, and now manufacturing. Yun. So that's me. I'm AJ by the way.
Oh nga eh, sana introduce mo sarili mo.
Sarili.
I'm JB Salvador. I've been working for about 14 to 15 years, mostly in the HR space. I started in a business process outsourcing organization or shared services industry, and then I moved into oil and gas. And I'm now in a manufacturing company. So I've been working in HR here I've been blessed to be working or to have the chance to work in HR here and in abroad. So happy and looking forward to share whatever experiences I've had with the rest of the people who watch or listen to our show, our little
Ako
experience.
naman, I'm Jeff. So I have been in the marketing industry for 14 years na rin. Mostly in FMCGs. But there was like 2 years na we were office mates ni JB for oil and gas. But most of my stint is really in brand management then. Different products lang talaga umiko. So yun.
And then actually, a personal note, we've known each other for mga ganong, hindi, more than. Because
More
in
than
college,
20.
we were office mates.
Almost 20 years.
Back in college, we were org mates.
And you and I, AJ, we've known each other longer kasi since high school, right?
High school,
now, on to our very first question.
Mm-mm.
And nagpa-survey kasi tayo, di ba? Ito yung
I think huwag natin simulan yung show natin with a lie.
Nagpa-survey tayo amongst ourselves, di pa ako tapos.
Oo, so
clear.
And yung parang one question na gusto nating masagot is, what do you do when a recruiter or a headhunter
someone in the recruitment field ghosts you? And how do we what does that mean, or what does the question mean? Yung after getting your details or after going through a certain recruitment process and then suddenly you get radio silence and wala ka ng update, no? So what do you do in those situations? I think I've had it, and I'm pretty sure both of you also have experienced that situation as well. So I think we can talk about how we responded and how we moved on.
As a recruiter, ikaw muna, as a recruiter, fast talk, have you done it? As a recruiter, have you done it? Have you ghosted an applicant?
Not, well, I would say not, not intentionally. It just so happens that there's so many, in the life of a recruiter, there's so many resumes that you have to go through and you have to keep in touch with, so sometimes it becomes, especially if recruitment isn't your main job, right? So not intentionally, but I wouldn't be 100% truthful if I say I haven't done it. But I would say it's not intentional. Siguro bago mo sagutin, ang tanongin natin, na ganun ka na ba? Have you experienced something like that?
Yes, I've been on that end of the application process na after giving my details. Actually, kaya siya parang nakakainis. What annoys me is I wasn't even looking. And I told the recruiter na parang I'm not looking. But of course, ako kasi parang yung ano ko is we should keep your options open.
Your options open.
Yeah. Even if you're not looking, parang it's okay to establish this good relationship with recruiters, with headhunters, diba? Especially kasi you'll never know, you might need them also in the future. So ako ganun. So I was very upfront, and magaling yung recruiter kasi parang she wasn't pitching a particular opportunity muna. No, sa start, it was pitched to me as if parang she wants to know my aspirations and she wants to understand. And so may ganon. So she understood na parang I wasn't looking. So yun. So I had that interview. It was a 1-hour interview with the headhunter, plus meron pa siyang sinama na from the digital team of their recruitment team. So of course, 'di ba, kahit na it's something that you parang are not actively looking for, you'll prepare for it. So that's what annoys me kasi you prepare for it, 'di ba? And then so I got through a series of interviews dun sa company, and parang I was always updating her after, parang I think I had 2 interviews. Both panel interviews, and then after ako pa yung mag-open up to get in touch with her. Tapos after the last interview, and after I've updated her, wala na siyang naging update to me. So nakakainis kasi what annoys me is it was something na I wasn't looking for. Tapos parang na-reject ako without me knowing.
You never know whether you've been actually rejected. I think that's the other thing.
Ayan
right?
din. Oo, correct. So for me, given that experience, ako, ang stand ko dito is it depends on where you at in terms of parang or how much you wanted that opportunity. So in my case, since I wasn't actively looking, I didn't follow up na. Parang
Pero parang masama sa loob mo.
Ramdam ko din eh.
Now that you're talking about it, masama it's more of annoyed. Kasi
parang hindi mo pa na-let go.
Kwento mo nga yung details. Wow.
Let go ko na talaga, yun na siya. So parang it really depends kung how badly you want that. For me, so if I were really actively looking, then I would have followed up. I wouldn't mind following up. But since ito parang okay lang naman sa akin whether I get it or not, so I didn't follow up na rin. Parang I didn't exert the effort pa to ask her. Although in my books, wala na siya. De parang more of siguro the next time hindi naman, siguro the next time lang na she gets in touch with me, parang I'd be parang I might not be that responsive. Kasi I make it a point na like even sa mga LinkedIn na parang minsan they would pitch you opportunities na parang you would think they didn't read through your profile. Na parang ba't mo pinipitch sa akin to? Parang ito yung profile ko. I still find the time to reply to
You're very courteous to people who
oo,
ask you
oo.
if you're open for opportunities. And I think what you're saying is I feel you just
It's not
want
courteous eh. It's not even being courteous. It's being considerate. Because you
yeah,
don't
but
want them to
what you're hoping to get is parang a there's some reciprocity of the amount of time that you've put
or the
versus
consideration.
oo.
inulit mo yung sinabi niya consideration.
Mm.
Yeah.
So my question is, what would you do if you're being ghosted?
Ayun nga, parang it depends kung nasan ka nga. So for me, since I'm not
Actually, Jeff, that's the same question I had because after that long,
Parang hindi clear eh.
parang hindi pa rin nasagot na kaya maybe na-ghost.
hindi nakikinig.
Clear.
Hindi nakikinig. Sabi ko, it depends kung how badly you want the opportunity. So if it's something
Yeah,
that
but
you
even
want, do you follow up? Ako, I'm not actively looking, so I didn't follow up. Ganun lang siya kasimple. So if you want it, then there's no harm in asking. Pero the fact is, they didn't update you, then in a way, you know naman how siguro what the status is kung ganun.
yeah, that's where my view is a little bit different. So to me, as I said earlier, I don't think it's intentional that people don't respond back, right? And I think it shifts the approach or shifts the reaction if depending on what you put as an intention there. No? So to me, I think there's no one who intends not to provide an update. So and as I said earlier, when you're a recruiter, your job and majority of your job is not just about ruffling through resumes. You also have to read those and arrange conversations with different hiring managers. No? So things can fall through the cracks. So I would approach it, or what I would suggest to do is take things into your own hands by asking more proactively. Because I think in all things, diba, the fear of knowing what the answer would be sometimes stops us from doing the things that we should be doing. And in this case, sometimes parang you don't wanna you assume whether it's a bad um outcome, or ibig sabihin you didn't get the job, but it could be something else. You just don't know. Because in my experience, kasi at least 2 experiences I've had na there were radio silence after a series of conversations and series of interviews. One was, ang update sa akin after a long time was that the organization was having a massive change, a massive transformation, so they couldn't bring someone in yet. But they've kept my profile warm, so to speak. And then the other one, what they said naman was there were people that were in transition who were handling my application, or were handling my recruitment process. No? So and because people were in transition, hindi siya na hand over. So technically there's still no answer. It still doesn't say that I passed or I failed. But
So
at
your plan
least
is to proactively ask. That's your
so you start talking and reaching out to the recruiter. And if the person doesn't respond, then I think that's where the conversation shifts. Diba? Kasi parang nagtanong ka na pero wala pa ring sagot, diba?
Yeah. Kasi for me, I'd be in the same space. Like, definitely I'll ask. And maybe the younger me would have asked again. But kunwari the older me, after going through hiring people, then parang I wouldn't ask the second time around, because I kind of know na since they're not pursuing you actively, they might be pursuing somebody else, or parang you're really their second, you're the backup to their main candidate. So parang, yeah, I would have wanted closure, but kung hindi, di hindi. Mas ganun, parang nag-shift ako from caring too much to right now, mas I'll ask once, but pag wala, okay, wala akong pake. Next na. Parang ganun.
I-
Kasi I've learned din from my sister na parang until it's a job offer, it's never your option. So parang, yun, just get an update, and if you don't get an update, you kind of know the status na rin naman talaga.
I've done it also naman in the past na parang pag I haven't heard from the recruiter for a week, I'll follow up. Yun nga, pero that was during a time na I really wanted that opportunity back then.
Yes.
And parang parang during that time, yung naging update was they're still reviewing the file and the offer. So that's why parang they haven't updated me yet, or that's why it took a long time. So yun nga, siguro I guess it depends on your situation or how badly you want closure, as Jeff said. Kasi so siguro just like in a
Or
relationship.
how badly you want another job.
Oo, or
True.
oo, kung if you really want this job or this opportunity, then there's nothing wrong in asking or being proactive about it, diba? So I guess from a recruiter standpoint, does it for you, JB, parang it also shows parang may initiative, may ganun ba, or does it make a difference? So parang or makulit lang yung applicant pag nag-follow up sa'yo. Like what do you take away when someone follows up?
Well, it is a reminder that you have an existing, diba? You have an existing relationship that you've actually put on hold. And ako, I don't put any kasi sometimes it becomes more when you're in the thick of things. But in terms of a candidate experience, what we would like to do across all organizations that I've been in, yung positive candidate experience, and it depends per company how that is defined. So, and normally, obviously, you want a more positive candidate experience. No? So, and I think these things are part of the change journey or improvement items that recruiters or recruitment organizations actually look into.
One question that I have is parang what's a good parang lead time or allowance that you give till you follow up? Kasi kunwari, I have experiences currently when we're hiring people na parang, for example, when they give you their compensation package, it's a tricky number and it kind of challenges the range for that position. So the discussion takes longer than usual because it's really a tricky conversation na in terms of financially, is it viable? Does it parang go against the range of that position, etc., etc. So parang I'm thinking, what's a good parang allowance that you give to the recruiter before you follow up? 1 week, 2 weeks, I don't know.
Pero for an applicant, you don't know that, di ba? So parang the only way you'll know na parang the reason why it's taking a bit of time is parang special case or they need to think about the offer. So I think that's where the consideration comes in. Parang for me, it boils down to you the person's work ethic, di ba? Parang if you're the recruiter and you already know na parang medyo matatagalan, then and I guess the reason na why you're trying to come up with the numbers, you really want the applicant, di ba? So I would say as part of that yung application experience, positive experience, then as soon as you learn na parang it might take some time, then you don't need to divulge, I guess, the information, but you can update or give a heads up to the user na parang we're still discussing about the offer, di ba? Para lang to, in a way, to keep him updated.
Keep him warm, gano'n.
Yeah, sa akin kasi parang it's also different eh. Parang, I think normal, I would give a week before following up. Diba? Kasi parang kung depende rin kasi normally you would have a conversation with the recruiter at the start, right? And say, okay, we'll give you an update by a certain date. And normally pagka may ganon, then you follow up if that particular date wasn't met, right? So that the first thing I would do is and maybe it's because also of the experience that I've had talking to a number of diba? Parang, then you agree when you're going to get into another conversation. and ako, I always go back to the positive candidate experience because at the end of the day, my belief is even if a candidate doesn't get doesn't become successful or doesn't get successfully selected in the job, that is still a customer. Especially in the companies that I worked with, we are consumer related, diba? Parang there's a consumer element. So they would buy our products. They would be patronizing the product. So if they have a bad experience, I feel like it would affect how they see and how they view the brand. So we are an extension of the marketing team, I feel, to a certain extent. So
To recap, ano yung stand mo? What do you do when a recruiter ghosts you?
first is to me, just ask. I think just ask. If you really need an answer, reach out directly to the recruiter that you're talking to.
Okay.
Ako, I'm the same. Ask, pero meron nga akong parang personal belief na ask once and then if ghosted ka pa rin, medyo parang itimpla mo na rin yung expectation mo na baka nga hindi siya nagpo-progress as you want.
Okay. Ako ask if you really want closure, pero kung okay ka naman, you're in a good place and you're not really that keen on the job, then okay lang din not to ask if you can live with not knowing kung ano yung naging status.
So I think that's diba? Parang yun yung the general feel of after office hours. Really just chatting about something that's close to our own experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the hang of it na.
And what I like about this is that feeling ko timely din kasi parang last Friday, parang the team and I were discussing and we were saying na parang there are a lot of things that you couldn't do now during the pandemic. Like, kunwari, inuman ng Fridays with your close office friends and you talk about things like these, diba? And yet, now with the pandemic, lalo ng ECQ ngayon, talagang walang ganitong conversations eh. So, yeah, I like actually that we talk about it and I like having JP here kasi iba yung lens niya for the topic eh. Diba? Meron siyang candidate and recruiter lens din. So,
yeah. That's basically what I said no intro then. So, yeah. So that's it, guys. We hope we were able to shed light on this question. Medyo ang extensive nga as JB said nung mga naging sharing namin on this one. So expect to have these kinds of of conversations and questions na medyo mahihirap i-ask kung hindi masyadong ka-close, but we will try to answer them for you. So till the next time we hang out after office hours.
bye!
Bye.